Recording is on.
Hello everyone to week 27. We're making an Eternity developers update, not product coordinators anymore, how we called it in the past. Pivot, for you coming back from travel, this is new. We want to grow this round here with basically everyone who works on Eternity related products and just be more open, so everyone who would like to share something can share this in this round. But of course still the main focus here also should be to tell breaking updates or like really stuff that got shipped and changed, so you also know this from each other. And I would like to start with you, Pivo, as being back. Welcome back. How was your week? We also had a small chat yesterday. Maybe you can wrap this up and say a few words to it.
Yes. So I'm mostly catching up with what happened in the last weeks. And we had some discussions about the token standard, how to continue on this. For the last hard fork, Eternity promised to have a governance voting app, and I'm starting to work on this to find some ideas on how to implement this as a smart contract, as a first solution, and build a nice interface for it. So this will be happening for me in the next week to get some ideas, and then afterwards start development on this topic. Also for Eternity Universe, we will revive the drone graffiti app, make a new version of it, update the smart contract, and next week I hope I can tell everybody more about this.
Cool, great. We call it graffiti app now, so we can do the graffiti on and store it on the blockchain without the need of the drones. And looking forward to see this. It was a fun application that showed quite some different stuff, and also UI and UX, which is also always a big research topic, of course. So I will just jump right from you people to Daniela, who did very well updates with the LXC SDK team while you were on the road. So hi Daniela, welcome.
Hello everyone. I got some updates regarding our work on supporting two major parts of Eternity node, implementation of noise listener and state channel implementation. So here are more news about noise listener. We added publishing functionality for key and microblogs, and also we added support for publishing all the transactions types. Currently, we also are finishing the functionality which automatically adds peers for testnet and mainnet, and for private networks, adding peers can be done either manually or automatically. Regarding state channels, we almost finished implementing the support for posting transactions between a basic account and generalized account, but we have some problems there, so we decided to open pull request with supported for only basic accounts. And after that we will continue our work with generalized account. We also made a lot of code refactoring. We added tests, added more specification, documentation, the examples, usages, and right now we're preparing the code for our pull request. Thank you, and this is my quick update from my lecture team.
Thank you, fantastic. Makes really good progress, and I think it would also be good if maybe you or people from the LXC team also show up maybe in the next couple of months on one of these nice conferences. I think we have talked about this. So I think this should also be a topic that we can address in the future more often when we especially work in specific areas, that it's also nice to like visit some dedicated conferences where you can like meet people, other people who like work a lot in the LXC field, for example, this can also be supported through the Eternity Foundation. So there will be, I think we will work on this to also have some physical presence here and there. Thank you very much for your update. I would straight go to Andrea, who also overlooks SDK development. And yeah, Andrea, please give us some insights about the past week.
Hello. So for what is concerning the JavaScript, Python, Go SDK, and the middleware, I'm gonna give also some updates about the middleware, that since John is not here with us today. So for the JavaScript SDK, there is we are working on the reference implementation for AX tools. It means like that it regards like communication between wallets and dApps. We have then for the Go SDK a new release with some breaking changes and mostly code refactoring and improved support for contracts. For the middleware, instead, we have a new, let's say, major release that will cause some DB schema changes that should be applied automatically if you upgrade the middleware yourself using Docker image or without. Also, there is a new documentation for the middleware. John worked a lot in writing this document. You can find it in the repository. And beside that, there are some updates for the hosted compiler. So as you may know, we host a compiler at the compiler.apps.com address. Previously was only exposing one compiler. Now you can choose which version of the compiler you can use. There is always a default one if you don't choose. Right now is the 3.10, but in 2 weeks we are gonna move to the default compiler 3.20. This is important because there is a forum post in the forum about that. This is important because the 3.20 introduces the concept of public functions and private functions. So existing content will have to be updated. The source code will have to be updated to work on the 3.20. So it's important to know this. And last but not least, there is also a plan major release with some API breaking change for the node. Probably Sergey will can talk about this later. That also is planned for 2 weeks from now. There is also a forum post on the forum. If there are any issues or problems with that, please just write it in the forum so we can address it on time. This is everything from my side.
Cool, great. Thank you very much, Andrea. And yeah, I think we all have to learn our best practices still, when to look, where to look, when to host yourself, when to take a hosted version from someone out of the community. And yeah, thank you for the updates. They're very important. And I think it's also good if we share them one more time, like just with bullet points later in the forum. I also asked Cecile to take some notes. It will not be perfect, and we are just working on this that we not only have the video, but maybe also like grabbing always the most important facts out and also putting them as some bullet points to the video when we post it in the forum. Okay, thank you. So next in line is Martin. Martin, there are quite some updates from your side. I've seen them flowing around different chat rooms. So please tell everyone what has been done the past week.
Hey, so the most exciting updates from our site is that we have finally launched the coffee shop showcase state channel application. It's now live. You can test it in the Base app. We are preparing now the forum post to share with the community. Also, we will share it in Twitter. So yeah, everyone would be able to test the application. It's up and running. Also, the updates from our side is that we are working on the date and time library from the Sophia smart contracts. We have now fixing some comments from Pivo and Hans as from the core team, and also we are working on, it's already in pull request, on a new Forge feature that will give the users the ability to send multiple smart contracts to the compiler, and in that way we will support the namespaces ability of Eternity. So yeah, quite short updates, but I think they're great.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. No, I mean, this is why we're here for. It doesn't have to be long. I mean, thank you for the update. And before we come to the wallets, let's quickly jump to Sergey and get news out of the core protocol development.
Hi everyone. So the biggest news is probably that we finally merged our Stratum into the master. So the first release, we call it developer release, which is, we hope we tested sufficiently, but still, I mean, there is still, you should give it some slack. So be careful when you're using it. So we haven't officially announced it yet because there is still a part of documentation that we are working on. So the documentation for the operator, basically for the server part, is already there. And within the few days, we'll also finish operator for the client. But it's there, it's released with the release 3.0, which happened yesterday. So you are free to have it and look at this and play with this and maybe even deploy it and try it into production. Just make sure that you're careful, because we call it internally developer ready, so you know what it is. And if you have any questions or find anything, so get back to us. We will happily look into this. And if you find some issues, we will try to fix them as soon as possible. And also, as Andrea already said, there is an ongoing release coming in 2 weeks. It may contain API breaking changes, which are related to making the state channels aware of generalized account. So as Andrea said, there is a blog post. I will also post it in the chat and in the probably in the weekly update, which explains what's happening there. So basically, it may affect applications that are using state channels, but apparently there's not so many of them yet. So far, we haven't heard any objections. So if it will have effect on you, please scream. Otherwise, we will just roll it out and hopefully nothing bad will happen. But yeah, it was kind of a bug. So right now you cannot use generalized accounts with state channels. So we think it's worth an emergency release. And unfortunately, it is breaking changes. And we've also implemented a lot of stuff for the new virtual machine Fate. It's almost on par with the one we're using right now. We also did some internal measurements for performance and for the size of the bytecode. And we call them internal because they're not official since it's still work in progress, but we already can see that we have some significant improvements in the performance and the size of the bytecode. It's much, much smaller due to the design of the Fate. And yes, I think this is it. So looking forward to the next release. Again, if you're affected to the breaking changes, please scream.
Cool, great. I mean, it's always very exciting to hear that what's going on there, and that there's also huge progress. Also must say that there are 10, 15 people more or less involved around the clock, hands-on code. And also, I mean, the forum has been mentioned a couple of times. I'm also happy that the forum gets more and more traction. We will for sure also have a subcategory for Stratum, for example, in the forum. So if there are questions or suggestions, then please hack them in there. And the people who have been leading the development here will also monitor this closely. Milen, please, I'm coming to you now, and please give me an update from the last 5 days, basically.
Okay. Hello, guys. For the last week, the wallet development was quite improving. We fixed some issues that were related to sending funds to sub-accounts. We fixed bugs with polling intervals, which were delaying the loading of some pages. We also improved some UI features on the Firefox version. As we announced last week, we now support Firefox browsers as well. Currently, we are working on improving the Chromium version of the extension, since it is supported by Opera as well. We yesterday conducted some tests, and it is usable on Opera, but we are still not aware if there are some issues related to this. So we'll be exploring what we need to improve in order to stabilize it on Opera as well. We added the naming system integration, which announced some bugs in the transaction history, but we fixed them, and on the next release it will be working. We've been covering some test cases as well for these functionalities, and we've split some of them so it can be easier tested via parallel testing on the Circle CI and other platforms like this. We've refactored some methods in the send, receive, and manage account pages. And we've been working on phishing detector, similar to what MetaMask has. They are storing a database with scammy websites so that they can warn users not to use them or be aware of like the scam is not trustworthy. So we've been working towards that. We've implemented actually their database since it's public, and now all of the websites that MetaMask has marked as scammy are also visible in our extension. And we also will be working on extending this database with Eternity-related projects. So if somebody is trying to steal something from you, we'll be having the ability to report this. And basically, it will be also open source and public for everyone to use. So any other project that is working with this can rely on this and check whether some website is trustworthy. And yeah, we've been working also a bit on the custom network support, since up until now we only support the testnet and mainnet. We've been working to give the user the ability to select his own network via inserting the IP address. And yeah, that is from our side for this week.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Milan.
Thanks.
And also, one question maybe from my side is, are there any like test pages, or have you done or like anything when it comes to interaction with apps? So stuff like, for example, the Stay Channel app that was now introduced from Martin and things like that.
We've been talking with the SDK team regarding this, and also on the expansion calls for the EX2, which is the communication between wallets and the apps. And we've been working on this. We have some things that are working now, but it's not ready for usage. Basically, we've injected the ape object, and it's now the extension is able to communicate with the website via post messages. But we need to standardize what exactly we are communicating, and basically make the cases where you are requested to sign something or returned the callback.
Cool. Thank you very much, Milan. We are jumping straight away to the next wallet here in the call. So Stoyan, please let us know what's going on your side.
Cool. So we have a few things that are in progress, which will be most likely ready for the next release, which is mid next week, so coming up. Those are the tooltips, which are part of onboarding. You basically, once you arrive at the base app, you'll be able to tap on different areas to learn what each part of the UI does, and you can also exit out of that and come back if you want to, with a little question mark in the corner. That's on track to be done. The other one is the first version of the naming system, which will include sending to a name and also registering your own name. That's also on track to be done. The new mention here is internationalization, where that's more or less implemented. We're now going to get the Chinese translation in place. Sorry, I accidentally turned the music on by touching my headphone. So we're getting the actual languages in place, but we have it implemented and it works. So we just need to get the translations in there. And that also looks like it's on track for the next release.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we're excited to have that, especially for Chinese. I think the Chinese community will be happy.
Yes.
And
sure.
From the previous release, which is available on web, it's also submitted on iOS for review. They should, in theory, approve it very soon, and we could roll it out in iOS as well. We did the external testing on it. For Android, we have an issue, which is that the air gap same device integration works on some devices and doesn't seem to work on others. And we try to get in touch with AirGap, but they're on hold right now. So I'm hoping to get an update on that from you, and then later, not on this phone call, on how we continue to work with them, because we're currently stuck because of them, and there's nothing we can do about this. Yep. And then we're also doing some small improvements in the UI, such as language updates. One of them is the one you pointed out about the multiple tabs. So it's just little things like that that will also be included in the next release. And then last but not least, we had the first phone call for alignment between the different wallet providers. This happened on Wednesday. It was a bit last minute because I had some issues with my computer, but Milan was able to join, and we discussed how to align strategically. A couple of things that came out of that were, Milan has suggested that much or some of the code he writes is reusable by other wallet providers, so we're going to review and see if it can be reused within the base app, basically to have functionality that's written once and used in different wallets. And then the other thing is we realized that it would be tremendously helpful for us to have some way of validating demand for different features that we would build in our wallets or within the ecosystem. And we think that we can use the upcoming governance app that Pivo is working on. So I would be delighted to join these discussions when they're happening about what the UI and UX of that is, and hopefully we can accomplish that with the same app. In other words, we don't need to build a separate app, but it would be really great if that works, because it would really help us to get quantitative data on what people want, because right now we get input, but if it's like from 1 or 2 people, we don't know if that's something that many people want or it's just singular individuals. So those are a couple of things that came out. We have more things to discuss with the wallet call. So we're planning to have that every 2 weeks, but actually next week we already have stuff to talk about. So we're going to do it next week again. And then maybe in the future it's every 2 weeks. It was productive time.
Cool.
That's it.
Thank you very much. And yeah, it's good to hear that how much different things going on. At the end of the day, it's our main interface, right, into the blockchain world. So good job. Thank you very much, both of you. I see Nikita here, our fellow Jitsa. So as you're in the call and have your camera up and running, please, Nikita, give us some insights about the past week from your side.
Okay, I hope you guys can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you good.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, first of all, yeah, most of things were already mentioned. The best thing is, I think, that we have the coffee shop app up and running now, thanks to the awesome work of Martin and the Lime Chain guys and the other people that were involved. I originally pushed for this to be done so we get our components on the racing track and see finally how it all performs, because it all runs well in the tests, and once you put it on the racing track on the street, things look slightly different always. The other thing is we're using the time, the holiday season, or the vacation season, better to say, to make up our mind about the thing which was not officially announced yet, but we're planning to, is like a consortium implementation of the Eternity protocol. And we're cracking up our heads with that a little bit with Sasha, who's unfortunately not in these talks always. Fitting to that, we had a phone call with a world-renowned company, which name I'm also, I think, not allowed to announce yet, but Sergey was there too. Looks like the requirements we plan to fulfill in this consortium implementation of Eternity really fits what people need out there in the wild. Some specific stuff. There's one big roadblocker gone now. I don't know, Martin, if you're aware about that, which hindered us from continuing the work further on the IDE. This should be fixed now. I'll reach out to you, Martin. So I think we're gonna have a cool IDE very soon. Then there is lots of stuff in the background, so to say. Nothing particularly super interesting, but if anyone else is actually still watching this video to this point, you guys are really invited to join the discussion on the forum, because there are so many things that are worrying me kind of right now, which we're doing, for example, like hosting compilers and all that stuff, because this is not really about decentralization in this point. If the Eternity Foundation provides all the necessary infrastructure, so there are solutions being discussed to that, which will lead to huge efforts. But we'll see if we maybe might want to go the last mile and also decentralize even these
Absolutely.
things.
Cool. Thank you, Nikita. And before we're wrapping this up, I see Pega is also here. I saw her jumping around, doing lots of technical support on all different angles. Pega, you want to say a few words about the past week and what you're currently working on?
Not actually, because I think it's not really excited for the. I'm just currently building a website for the foundation team, but this is, I think, nothing to talk about for now.
Cool. All right, then thank you again, everyone, for joining. This is week 27, and I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'm looking forward to see you next week. Thank you very much for joining this. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Bye.